You're not cynical how many years this conversation has been taking place. It's been what, since 2017? We're in 2023. For all these years, you've been possibly India's first openly gay judge, and you haven't become a judge, despite the collegium reiterating it a second time, which actually means the government has no option but to accede to the collegium's decision.
Well, what the law is, that of course everybody knows. And I have made my peace with it, and I've spoken about it in the past as well, that my name is gone. I have faith in the system. Presumably the law will take its own course, and what will be done will be done. It's beyond my pay grade, really, to worry about it and think about it. So I don't dwell too much on this, to be honest.
Something very unprecedented happened with your case. The Supreme Court placed in the public domain, and there's been a lot of debate over whether they should have done that or not, intelligence inputs that raised objections to your being made a judge. Two reasons were cited. One, that you have a partner who is not Indian. And second, that you were so passionately attached to the sort of cause of LGBTQ rights that you would not be neutral. Right? Let's start with the first, a foreign partner.
Well, yes, it's a fact that my partner is a Swiss national. We have been together for 20 years, 17 of which he has lived in India. To say that it is an intelligence input, I think if you parse it down, there is a distinction when you come out with any report between your sources and the conclusion, right? And obviously you cannot disclose sources because that would lead to a problem for the intelligence community. You'll reveal your sources. But if the conclusion is something which is already in the public domain, then there is really no worry in terms of releasing it to the public, right? I have never hid the fact that I am gay and I have a foreign partner. I put my photographs on Instagram. We go out to social events together. People can see us. So it's really not a surprise that...
It didn't need intelligence gathering to establish this fact. Facebook was enough. Instagram was enough.
I don't know what the sources are. We still don't know the sources behind why the IB gave that report. That has not been leaked. That may not have been revealed to the collegium either. I do not know. But the fact is, what has been revealed is not any source or anything which is very sensitive. So that's point number one. And I'm not going to defend myself as to whether he's a foreign national, whether that makes it right or not, because the matter is under consideration.
No, I think our viewers might want to know when you read about your life in those terms. And you know that other people are reading about it too. They're consuming this sort of narrative that sort of Kirpal's... What does it boil down to? That we can't trust this man to be a judge because he actually loves a non-Indian, right? That's what it is. What emotion does that trigger?
Nothing. Look, one thing...
No hurt, no anger, no...
None whatsoever.
Why?
Because as lawyers, and if you are a good lawyer, you learn to engage with every conversation that comes your way. A judge will ask a question, the other side opposing you will make all kinds of arguments. You can't simply poo-poo them and say they're irrelevant and therefore I will not engage. I will disown them, I will discredit them. It may be a legitimate question, it may not be a legitimate question. So I engage with it. So I don't feel as though I'm being targeted. This could be a thought in someone's mind as to how is it that a judge can have a foreign partner. To which I will only say that I must first understand as to what the concern is. One is to have a foreign partner per se, which is wrong. But that does not automatically lead to a conclusion that I am therefore incapable of being a judge, in as much as no judge ever gets secret, sensitive, classified information. Everything a judge does is in the public domain. The arguments are made in public. Now that the sealed cover procedure has also been done away with, more or less, there is really nothing that a judge does. And there's some great idea about how fancy a judge's life is, and they're taking political decisions and they're running the country. 99% of the job of a judge is very mundane. They're deciding matters of property disputes, they decide matters about employment and promotion and salaries. There's no national interest involved in that, in the sense of there being a national security implication. To the extent that delivering of justice is a nationally important thing, that's fine.
You've also pointed out that there are several other public figures, including in this government, who have foreign spouses.
Yes, that's true. Foreign spouses, and frankly, if you are talking about it, and it's possibly maybe a case that you change your passport after getting married. That is not possible for me.
Because there's no marriage equality.
There is no marriage equality. Secondly, if you distrust someone because they have a foreign spouse, the foreign spouse will not lose allegiance to the country that they have just by switching passports. If you are a man or a woman of straw and are going to be so easily swayed by the predilections or the views of your partner, then the fact that the partner has a red colored passport or a blue colored passport or any other colored passport doesn't matter. Or indeed even an Indian passport, but they come from in the past a foreign country. They may continue to harbor love for that country. So it can't be a disqualification. It certainly isn't, as we see evidence of it in the present government and in past.
But when you see your elevation sort of delay as a response, one time the government says no, now it can't say no, so it can just sit on the file perhaps. What I'm trying to understand is how can you be so free from cynicism? Because we're batchmates, right? We went to school and college together, which means we're the same age, 51?
Yes, 51.
For you to become a judge today, let's say this happens and you are finally India's first openly gay judge, and that possibly goes from the prefix. Would it make career sense for you? It's been so late. Would you even be able to rise to the top of a court?
Well, that's certainly the case, that if I were to become a judge today, by virtue of the fact that it has been delayed a bit, I would certainly not rise to the top. I would not go to the Supreme Court. I may not even become a Chief Justice of a High Court. I'll be very old compared to my peers on the bench. But so much of being a judge is public service, that if you think it's about yourself and your own promotion, then you're doing it for a wrong reason. Because a judge's life is very hard, very tough. That's point number one, really, as to why I think it doesn't make me a difference. But more importantly, I have always said that one of the reasons I want to be a judge is because it's important for the queer community to have a role model, to break that glass ceiling, really. And if it is about the community and not about myself, then it matters little whether I will progress much further in my career or not.
So have you stopped being hopeful about this happening?
I am as less hopeful as I was from day one. I never knew this. I knew this would never be an easy ride. I knew what I was getting into, and time has proved me correct. But cynicism is something that will only gnaw away at my own sense of worth and self-esteem. So I think I try to ignore the negativity of it and try to be.
How does your partner feel about being a news headline every few months?
I think he's probably not as used to it as I am. But I think he's also reasonably sanguine. We both try to keep away from social media a bit.